Okay, so we're in week 3. We're going to talk about how to edit with iMovie and how to create podcasts with GarageBand. Okay, for iMovie, if you want to follow along with the class notes, just click class notes. And here's an outline of all the things I'll talk about. So you can just scroll through and follow along. Okay, you will need 2 videos for this lesson. You'll need an in-class lesson video and then an in-class activity video. All right, so download those to your desktop. Okay, so let's start by opening iMovie. So it's not on your menu bar to the left or if you have it on the bottom. But what you need to do is go to Applications and go to iMovie. So they're in alphabetical order. And then launch iMovie. All right, so you can see there's a basic layout that's similar to the YouTube editor. And before we begin, I want to talk about one thing. That iMovie will not support the web movie files. So the files from Screencastify will not work here. All right, so if you're going to do anything in Screencastify and edit it in iMovie, you need to convert it to a MOV. You need to convert it to an MP4, right? We can do that through YouTube. All right, so just make a big note about that. The web files, the web movie files will not work in iMovie. You need to convert them. Okay, the other thing is that you may have a different version. So your actual screen may look a little different than mine for iMovie. Okay, that's okay. Just keep in mind that the buttons and the vocabulary I'm going to talk about are all the same. Okay, so let's start by talking about the menus. So we have all the nice little menus up top like we normally do in programs. We have a file menu, we have an edit menu, we have a mark menu, we have a modify menu, and then we have view, so we can view a lot of good stuff. Then we have our nice window menu, and then our help menu. Okay. I'm not going to go through a lot of what's in the menus because we're going to do a lot of what we need to in iMovie with all these buttons. The next thing we need to talk about are the first set of buttons. So we have a nice little project button. So if I click that, I'll get into all my projects. Right, so these are all the things, if I scroll through, that I've done, just throughout this class and stuff. So your project should be blank unless you've done iMovie stuff before. In here, you'll see I have media. So I have connections to pictures and all the stuff that's in my iTunes library or my photo galleries on my actual computer. I have theater. So this is where I can actually start to create movies. I can create a movie or I can create a trailer. And that's literally what it sounds like. A movie is an actual movie we'll create. A trailer is, iMovie has developed a way that you can make a movie style trailer. So it's not a movie, it's just a trailer. Okay, and we're going to start by making a movie. So let's go to new movie. You have different themes. We're just going to do a regular old no theme. Okay, we're going to call this in-class movie. See, we get back to our original screen. So here I can show and hide my media library. See, if I unclick it, these are toggle buttons now. That left library is gone. Right? And this is where my projects and stuff are stored. So there's my photo, my events. Now events are actually the folders where iMovie stores your movies. So it doesn't call them folders, it calls them events. Okay, here I can actually import videos, but again, we're going to drag and drop. So I'm going to get rid of my media library. Well, let's talk first. So here's my media library. I have some buttons at the top. Here's where I'll import actual videos. This is where I drag and drop them. Here's my video screen that will actually show me what my video looks like as I scroll through the playhead. And then here's my timeline or where I'll edit my movie. All right, so just like in YouTube, I'm able to import media, right, videos and things. I'm able to actually see the video as I play it when I move my playhead. And I have an area here that I'll be able to edit. Okay, so let's start there and let's import some media. So let's import the in-class lesson video. Right, so it should have downloaded to your desktop. I put it in a folder. Right, so here's my in-class for the notes. I just click and I drag over to this area. You can see I've imported it just like I did in YouTube. So this is the equivalent of me uploading a video to YouTube. Right, so now notice I have a preview screen. So now you can see that we have things in our preview screen. This is not in my editing area. Right, so if I want to put things in my editing area, I have to click them and I can resize how much of the video I want. I want all of this, so I'll go all the way to the end. And all I do is either click and drag to my area and then let go. Or you'll see if I'm on it, there's a plus sign. I can hit plus and it puts it there by itself. So I don't want this twice, obviously, so I'll select the whole thing and hit delete. Right? And just like in YouTube, here's my playhead. You can see as I scroll through, my preview screen is showing me where my playhead is. Okay, just like in YouTube editing, I have a nice little zoom feature. So you'll see if I go out, then I get a larger space between frames that I can work with. If I go to the left, I get a smaller space. That's my zoom for my editing. All right, so let's do it all the way to the center, or let's go all the way to the right. Okay, just like in YouTube, if I take 2 fingers on my mouse pad, and I scroll left and right. I can click anywhere I want and get my playhead. Right, so just like in YouTube, and I can drag my playhead wherever I want. Okay, and just like in the YouTube editor, we'll be able to cut clips, we'll be able to extend clips, we'll be able to delete clips, all that good stuff. Okay, so now that I have some stuff to work with in my editor, let's talk about the buttons at the top. All right, so now I have audio. So here are the things I can do with audio. And audio is I can actually insert audio. So here are sound effects. Maybe I want some ambient noise. I can play it to hear what it sounds like. And if I like it, I click and hold it, and I drag it down to my timeline. Right, now you can see I'm going to actually have audio that'll play right behind this video. So one thing I want to point out, the original video, I have two things. I actually have video, so you can see the kind of white screen, and then below it, there's blue. Okay, this is the audio. All right, so that's the audio for my video. The green now is extra audio I've added. You can also see if I hover, I can hold and I can actually manipulate the volume of my video. Okay, so just keep in mind when I import video, I have video and audio together. All right, so that's the audio button. The titles, now I can actually, just like we did in the YouTube editor, I can drag, I can put things wherever I like. So here's just text. You can see now I have a little bit more freedom to put this where I want. So if I were to drop this right here, it would just overwrite over my video. Okay. I could also, just like in the YouTube editor, bring it so it's in the front now. All right. And so now you'll see this is actually a title slide before my video starts. Okay. And then just like in the YouTube editor, if I click, I can always resize by clicking my mouse button on the edge and dragging to however far I want. Okay. Let's make it 1 second. I'm going to click this. If I want to delete something, I just click it to delete. And then you can see if I click on here, then here's my text. Okay, and now in this case, to enter text, right, I have two choices. I just double click my blue tab here. And if I do that, you'll see it actually changes my preview screen to highlight text, which is letting me know I can actually type text. Right, so I don't want that. And now I'll just highlight this and let's put my first iMovie. And then I'll get rid of that text. I don't want that on the screen either. Now we'll go to the front and you watch if we play it. And now to play it, all I need to do is hit my space bar. So if I hit my space bar, you'll see it'll play. And if I hit my space bar again, it'll stop. All right, so that's how I play things, space bar. All right, so that's titles. And you have all different types of titles, right? Standard, I can expand lower. So these actually have transitions in them, embedded in them with the titles. So you can play around with that. I have backgrounds. So if I click and grab, I can actually put a background here. Okay, now when I place my background, if I were to play this, you see I'm not actually seeing the video. So you have to be careful on your background. You'd have to resize your video and layer your video so that you can actually see some background in video. Okay, we're not going to go over that. It's more of an advanced technique, but just keep in mind it's possible, right? So I can resize my video and then show my video in this background, but I just have to kind of layer it and be clever about it. Right? So I don't want my background, so I'm going to click it and hit delete. Okay, and our last things are our transitions, just like we had before. So here, cross dissolve, if I want a transition. And now you'll see it puts it right in the center. And now if I click over here, you'll watch it'll cross dissolve. That was kind of quick. So the 1 second might be a little too short, so I'm going to click my title. I'm going to make it 2 seconds. So I go to the end, I hold the mouse button, and I drag until I see 1 second. So this little box at the top here lets me know how long I'm actually extending this video for. All right, and now you can see it's all 2 seconds. And then you can see the cross dissolve. All right, so that's the transition. And those are our normal buttons, just like we had in the YouTube editor. I'm going to get rid of my sound effects. So now you see when I click on, let's go out. If I click on my actual video here, now if I keep going to the right, I have more options here. This first little magic wand is kind of a default to improve all your videos. So it automatically selects values to improve your video. So if you like that, that's great. So this next button is a color balance. You can see I have auto. I can just, and these are toggled on and off. So I can do auto color balance. So there's a match color, a white balance, and a skin tone. All right, those are a little bit more advanced, so I'm not going to discuss those. We have color corrections as well. Okay, so our first color, if you hover, you'll see it'll let us know what this is. This is just brightness. the other one adjusts saturation, and the third one adjusts temperature. Okay, so if you were to move these around, to whatever you like. Okay, and if you don't like this, there's a reset button to the right. So you just hit reset and it'll reset them back to the beginning. Okay, so now here's where I can crop. Okay, so my first one is the fit. So it'll crop to fit the entire video. I can do crop to fill, and now you'll see it looks a little different. And I have corners here. Here's where I can click and I hold the mouse button and I can drag, and then I'm able to actually crop and see just what I want to see. All right, and you'll see if I go, I can only crop diagonal, but I can also click in the middle somewhere and drag my crop window wherever I feel like. All right. Okay, the Ken Burns will be a nice little zooming effect, and we'll get to that later. Okay, but just keep in mind, you need to make a note, Ken Burns equals zooming. All right, if you like all this, you can also rotate your video if you like. Okay. If you're happy with it, great. If not, reset it all. I could do video stuff, so I can do stabilize if it's shaky video. All right, I can fix the rolling shutter. I'm not entirely sure what rolling shutter is. But again, if you're not sure, hold over it. And it's we can select this to reduce the motion distortion caused by quick side-to-side camera movements. All right, and this is the shaky camera. Okay, here's my audio. I can do auto adjustments. I can change the volume. Okay, here's also kind of an audio. I can do reduce the background noise. So if you get a lot of background noise, I can equalizer, so I can change the pitches and the loudness and the basses and all that good stuff. Okay, my next is, this is actually a speedometer, so this is the speed. I can do normal speed, I can do slow motion, I can freeze frames, I can do custom. My next one's all the filters, so I can put on filters. I can do audio effects too, so I can change the audio to all these different effects. And then the filters, if I click, I have all these different filters that I can put on. You can see if I hover over one, my preview area lets me see what's going on. All right, so if you want some filters. And then the last thing is just the information of the video. So that's all the stuff we can do to our videos. Right? And there's a lot of stuff in here. So now let's actually use some of this. Let's get rid of our transition. Or let's get rid of our title. Let's get rid of our transition. Scroll this down a little bit, or zoom down a little bit. Let's go to My Media. Okay, so now here you can see the media. And it's actually, you'll notice that it put in the sound effect that I had before. So that's in my little media area. Right, and I just want to note, iMovie is more versatile than YouTube, the YouTube editor, for many reasons. But one is this idea that I can actually combine multiple videos. Right, so if you are using some kind of Screencastify capture app where it only lets you go for 10 minutes, this is how you could put all those together. Right, so I'd have all my different clips I'd upload. Now what I'd do is just select all the clips and I drag them all in, and that's how I can make one whole video. Okay, so that's one big deal with iMovie. Way more complex and versatile than the YouTube editor. Okay, so let's get our slide back. Let's go a little bit longer. Okay, I'll scroll to the very beginning. Okay, so now let's work on our video. So the first thing I want to do is, again, I mentioned I have video and audio together. So I'm going to select the entire clip. If I go to Modify, and Modify is the menu where we're actually getting most of our commands to edit our video. All right, and you'll see I want kind of down in the middle, I want Detach Audio. And now you can see my audio is detached from my video. So now I actually have two pieces I can work on. And you couldn't do this in YouTube Editor. I can cut and clip and resize on my video, and I can do the exact same thing to parts of my audio. So if I want to cut out maybe a cough or a dog barking in the background, I can do that. So let's learn how to clip. So just like YouTube, so let's go. I don't want people to see all this beginning website stuff. I want to start just at slide 1. So select my video. I'll go to slide 1, I'll go to Modify, and now I want to split the clip. So Command B. So if I split the clip, and let's say I want to do the same thing to my audio, so I wanted to kind of match up, and then I'll do Command B or split clip. Now you can see I have 2 split clips. So you see if I highlight my video and hit delete, you'll notice it gets rid of the video and the audio. So if I do undo, but I could actually just highlight my audio and hit delete. All right, so I want to delete that piece. Right, I'm going to delete all of this audio because there is no audio here, but you get the idea of how we can actually modify the audio. So let's select it and get rid of it all. And now I'm right at the beginning. And what do I want to do? I want to play until I get to the white. So that's my white. I want to go a little bit left. So remember, I don't want a shard of the white on my new video. So now I'll just do Command B. Right, you see it clipped. I'll go all the way to the white. I'm going to scroll a little bit. So I just want to cut out the white part. Now I'm in the slide 2, so Command B. I'll highlight my clip, and I'll hit delete. And I'll go all the way to the end. I don't want people to see all this junk. Right, so I just want to go to where slide 2 is. Then I'll hit Command B, split my clip. I'll highlight this and hit delete. So now I have slide 1 and slide 2. It looks like on the end that this is not just slide 1. It looks like there's a little bit of black here, but that's not the case. All right, and now I know this is 6.2 seconds and this is 7.2. So let's say I wanted to make them both 6 seconds. So I'll click this. I need to get rid of 0.2 seconds. So I grab the back and I just go to 6 seconds. Here I grab the back and I'll go to 6 seconds. So now they're exactly the same length. That's how I can actually make them the same length. Okay, keep in mind if you do resize something, you can always take the edge and then bring it back. So you can kind of resurrect it. And in fact, depending on how far I resurrect it, right, you'll notice I'm actually getting what I cut out back. It doesn't look like it, but I'm getting that part that I really didn't want. So be careful when you actually extend videos. If you're not extending what you see, you're extending the video that used to be there. All right, so let's do this. We'll take it back to 6. So the timeline, the editor always remembers what the video used to be. All right, so just be careful with that. Okay, so let's do our Ken Burns. So let's do our zoom in, zoom out. So I want to select my actual video clip. I want to go to the crop. I want to go to Ken Burns. And here's what's going to happen. It's going to start on this rectangle, and it's going to end on this rectangle. So you can see it's going to start small and end big. So I want to start really small. So let's grab this and make it small. Again, I can grab this and go to the side and move it wherever I want. So that's where it's going to start. Now I want it to end at the full part. Okay, so now you'll see if I play this whole clip, see how it's zoomed in and then it kind of zooms out. So that's the Ken Burns part. If you wanted to, right, you could set it up where I select a whole nother clip. I go to crop and then Ken Burns. I have to make sure this is where I start and then this one's where I end. So remember, this one was going from small to large, and now this one is going from, go back to Ken Burns, from large to small. Okay, and if you want to flip them, you just hit these 2 arrows and you'll see it'll switch the start and the end. So what I'm going to do is start at the big and then I'd actually end very small. Okay, and I go to the beginning. Let's go even farther to the left here. So you'll see, and now slide 2 is zooming in. Okay. All right, so that's how we can actually, zoom in to out and out to in. A nice little trick. Let's say you wanted to do the whole thing in this clip. You want to do the zoom out and then the zoom in. We'll select the clip and then cut it where you want to cut it. So clip it, Command B. And then what you do is you'll notice if I go to Ken Burns on this second part, it's already set up the way I did it before. So if I hit flip, it'll automatically go right back to where I started. So if we start this, you see I'm going to zoom out and then immediately I'm going to zoom back in and it's perfectly proportioned. Okay, so it's a little trick on how to kind of reverse the Ken Burns exactly. Okay, I'm going to hit Command Z, undo. I'm going to get rid of the clip. I'm going to get rid of the zoom. So now it's all just Ken Burns. So let's say we don't want the Ken Burns. So what do? We click on our clip. Right, so make sure it has the yellow box around it. This is selected. We go to the crop. We go to Ken Burns, and then we just hit reset. And you can see I don't have any Ken Burns. Okay, so that's how I can get rid of Ken Burns. So let's add, how about a couple transitions and then a couple titles. So let's do our titles. Let's do expand. Let's put it right in the front. All right, and again, we're just going to do, this is my first. Let's do first iMovie. Okay, you can see I didn't talk about this before, but once I type things in, then I have all these editing features. Right, so now I can change the font. Right? I can change the size. I can change where it's aligned, the bold, italicized, or this O is make the text outlined. Right, so I can change all that stuff. So that's my first iMovie. I think 4 seconds is long, so let's go to, how about 2.5 seconds? And then you can see if I play it, that's my first iMovie. You can see it's actually doing the expand part on its own, right? And that's the idea. So this is a title with a kind of a transition to it. Okay, so once we do that, let's say we title into our first slide. Let's use a transition. How about an open circle? All right, so I'll put it right in the middle there. Okay, so now I'll play it. You can see I circle into my slide 1. That was kind of fast. All right, so let's say I want to change the time of the transition. What I have to do is I double click on the transition and I get the little duration. So let's do, how about, I don't know, see what 3 seconds looks like. Okay, I can apply it to just this transition or to apply it to all the transitions that I have in my video already. I want to do just this single one, and then let's see what happens. You can see it's much slower, so it's going to take 3 seconds. Right, so maybe 3 seconds was a little long, but that's up to you. So we have some slide one. Let's do some background text. So let's do title. Let's do reveal. And this time I'm going to put it actually on the text, on the video. So I don't want it to be that long, so I'll grab the end. I'll select it. I'll grab the end, and let's make it 2 seconds. And now when I click this, I can either double click or I can just click in here. Let's just put my text. And again, I can change the font, the size, all that good stuff. Okay, and you can see I'm overwriting my actual slide, so this would be a bad text to pick. And so now if I want to change the actual position, then I'd have to change it with a different format here. So let's look at lower third. So if I click my text, and you'll see it's right in the center. If I click lower third, nothing happens, but if I double click it, then I'll actually change the format. So now if I go in and double click this, I can actually get rid of the description part. And you can see that's how I can move around my titles. I have to go to the title themes here. All right, so let's do another transition. How about we'll do spin, we'll put it right in the middle. We'll double click, let's make this 2 seconds. Let's apply. And let's make the other one 2 seconds. So I'm gonna apply to all, so now they're both 2 seconds. Now if I play this, I have that nice little spin in to slide to. And then how about the last thing I'll do is an ending slide. So let's do scrolling credits. I'll put it at the end. 10 seconds, that's gonna be way too long. I only have one name, so let's go down. Let's grab the end. Let's go down to 3 seconds, or 2.5 seconds. All right. Now the title, I'll put the end, and then name, creator, and then I can just get rid of the rest of these. If I wanted to add some, I just kind of click in where it should be, and then let's see. And then it's kind of off-centered, so I'll go on the front. If I hit tab, then I'm good. I hit tab again. If I delete them, I can put them back. All right, and those are my scrolling edits. So let's see what that looks like. The end. All right, nice scroll. So that's how we can edit our actual movies. Right? And now remember, we haven't actually created a movie yet. So to create a movie, I need to share this. So let's go to File. Let's go to Share. I can share to Theater, email, iTunes. We can do straight to YouTube. We're going to do to a file. Here's the description, the tag, the format. I have video and audio. Right? Resolution, quality. Make it medium. Compress fast, and then hit Next. And then here I just label it and hit Save. Okay, and you see up in this top right, it's letting me know that it's downloading. So do not click out of this until that's completely full. Okay, so it's gone. It says I have successfully shared, which means I have downloaded this. I hit close. Here's my iMovie. So if I click it, and always click them to see if you can play them. So 17 seconds, looks good, right? So if I were to play this, all that good stuff. All right, so do not click out of things until you know you've downloaded the entire movie. Okay, and that's how to edit with iMovie. Okay, so let's go to your iMovie challenge. It's my website. Here's the challenge. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your children's stories, the one you created using Screencastify, and you've already made edits using the YouTube video editor. So I want you to take that movie, all right? So you should have it downloaded already as an MP4. I want you to go into iMovie. I want you to delete all the title slides. I want you to delete all the transitions, right? So all the transitions you added from Screencastify, right? So the beginning and the end, and all the transitions that were added from Google Slides. Okay, so any transition that's in your children's story, I want you to delete it. This should separate your video into these different clips, right? These single clips that you narrated. Then I want you to go back and add things. So let's add a title screen. So call it My iMovie. Okay, I want this to last for 2 seconds. I want you to add transitions between each video clip now. So adjust the actual transitions, the time, to make it look nice. So the time duration's up to you, but make it, look pleasing. And then at the end, add a title screen with the end. Do the end and then in quotes, iMovie. And make this end title screen 3 seconds. And then I want you to fade to black. Okay, so now the audio edits. I want you to add some audio. I want you to add music to the iMovie slide, right? If you don't have music, or if you just want to add sound effects, you can. And this is just for the iMovie title slide. Okay, then I want you to actually add sound effects to your story. So these have to be sound effects. Okay, and then the last thing, I want you to add music to the end, the iMovie end title slide. And again, if you don't have music, you can add sound effects. Okay, then I want you to download this to your Google Drive. I want you to share this video with me. And then I want you to add a link to this video under your children's navigation bar. Okay, and I don't want a new web page for this. I want just a link under your children's navigation bar, right? That links right to this video. And then this note that next class will entail peer evaluations of your iMovie videos. That's not going to apply to us. Okay, so you'll be graded solely by me on your project.